As bow hunters, our goal is to place an arrow within the vitals of the animals we're hunting. So in the case of big game animals like deer, elk, bear, moose, that's going to be the heart and the lungs. Now today we're going to be primarily focused on shot placement for white-tailed deer, which is the most common big game animal hunted in North America. But a lot of these same principles will apply to just about everything you'll hunt. So on a white-tailed deer, the heart and the lungs are going to be located just behind the shoulder here, right in this section here, in the rib cage, the chest area, however you want to describe it. The heart is located a little bit lower. It's about the size of a fist, right over here, right in the armpit section. And then the lungs are going to come up and around it like that. So the lungs are going to provide you with the largest target, and if you're going to go for them, you want to hit both lungs. And ideally, your arrow would hit one lung, the other lung, and then continue to pass through. The same thing goes for the heart. If you hit the heart, you still want your arrow to completely pass through. How do we know where to aim to hit these vital areas? In a perfect world, a deer would stand just like this. This is called a broadside shot, where you have the complete profile of the deer facing you. On a broadside shot, I would recommend aiming, so if you find the shoulder blade, you would aim just a couple inches behind there. The shoulder blade is really hard, and you're going to have a tough time getting an arrow to go through it. So aiming a couple inches back gives you a little bit of a buffer area between your arrow and the shoulder blade, while still keeping it tight to those lungs. The other angle that we'll talk about is called the quartering away. And I'm going to move the cameras so you can kind of get a picture of what that would look like. So now what you're looking at is a quartering away angle, where the back of the deer is kind of towards you and the head is kind of facing away from you. So when you are choosing your shot placement on a quartering away angle, you want to keep in mind where your arrow is going to exit. This is extremely important because if you aim in the same spot as you did for the broadside, as the arrow begins to exit, you're going to hit the shoulder blade on the other side and your arrow's not going to pass through, and it might not even hit the lung on the other side. So to counteract this, you would aim a little bit further back in the lungs, somewhere right in here, and then your arrow would exit on the other side of the front shoulder. So kind of, if you have a quartering away shot, visualize where the shoulder is on the other side of the deer and pick your aiming point so the arrow passes through just behind the opposite shoulder. So you might be wondering about some of the angles we haven't covered yet. Things like facing toward, a quartering toward shot, or a rearward shot. These are all shots that I don't suggest for a new archer or a new bow hunter. The broadside and the quartering away are going to give you the highest percentage for success. They offer a large target area and are very forgiving. A quartering toward shot is not out of the question. If you're a good archer, an experienced bow hunter, you would do basically just the opposite of a quartering away, where you would place your arrow so it entered right here behind the shoulder pretty tight, and then it would exit out that last rib. The problem this poses for new archers is it gives you a very small target window. If you're off just a little bit and you hit that front shoulder, you're going to have a bad hit. And same thing, if you're aimed a little bit too far back, you might hit the paunch, the liver, and those require a long tracking job and are not ideal for a humane harvest. So, and then a straight facing shot and a rearward shot are kind of out of the question for just about anyone, especially in a white-tailed deer. The area that you would have to aim is very small, and you'd have to be extremely skilled and have an animal that's completely unaware of your presence. But we're not gonna get into that. If you're new, stick to the broadside and the quartering away. You'll have a lot of success with those. So another thing to consider is if you're shooting from an elevated position like a tree stand or shooting downhill, you want to follow that same rule as we did with all of our shot placement, is you want to think about the exit. So if you were to aim somewhere around here, out of a tree stand, your arrow would exit low, and you might miss the lung on the other side. If you're on the side of caution, you might want to aim at the top of the lung here, so you hit the bottom of the lung on the other side. Shot placement is a very personal topic, just like all of archery and bow hunting, but you want to choose what you're most confident in and be owed to these animals to make careful shot selection. So to do that, we need to practice, right? So how do you practice your shot placement? Different angles, different positions. One of the best ways is with a 3D target. You can set one of these up in the backyard, or if your local archery club, archery range has 3D targets that you can practice on, or go to a 3D shoot. Perfect. It's a great way to practice on a life-size animal that has, you know, all the muscle definition that a real animal would have. Another option would be a block target like this one here that has an animal silhouette on it. Or you can use a paper target that has an image of an animal, where you can kind of visualize where you would want that enter and exit to be, and choose your shot selection that way. Another option is when you're watching hunting shows on YouTube or TV, visualize where you would want to aim for different scenarios as you're watching animals move. And then if it's a hunting show, you can watch the results play out. Another option is what's called a tube deer, and we'll have instructions on how to make one of these. But basically, it's a concrete tube that's used like as a form to make concrete pilings, and you turn that into a homemade 3D target. And it's a really cool way to practice your shot selection, and you can kind of see how much you can get away with as far as angles goes before you hit some of the bad parts like the stomach and the intestines. And it's a great visual aid. I highly suggest you guys play with one. It's a fun activity to do with young kids that are just learning to bow hunt also. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. For more videos, please subscribe, leave us a comment, and we'll see you in the next one.